Coming from a background with absolutely no restaurant experience to where I am today is only attributed to the relationships I built with Firehouse Subs, the relationships I built with other owners, the relationships I built with my crew.
This episode is brought to you by Firehouse Subs. Built by firefighters, Firehouse Subs offers franchise opportunities designed to help first responders transition into business ownership with exclusive incentive programs. Through the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, over $105 million has been granted in life-saving equipment to departments across North America. Explore your next chapter at franchising.firehousesubs.com.
Hi, Chris McClune here. Welcome to the FDIC podcast schedule. My guest is Chris Ferrara. Just about everybody knows Chris around here at FDIC. He's been a firefighter and involved with the fire service for 44 years now. We know him as a fire truck manufacturer. We also know him as a pump manufacturer. And today, Chris, is what we're going to be talking about, U.S. fire pump. To get us started, Chris, could you just give a real quick history of U.S. fire pump, when it started and everything?
Well, let's back up in town. Like you said, Chris, I've been in this fire service for about 44 years. I started as a volunteer fireman. Back in the early days when I was a volunteer fireman, we didn't have a lot of money. We needed a new fire truck, and I was a pipe fitter welder at the time. Me and a couple of guys got together and built a fire truck on the side. That's how the fire truck business started with me some 44 years ago. But back to your question with U.S. Fire Pump. U.S. Fire Pump was really founded somewhere around 2016, 17. Our goal basically was actually to build one of the largest industrial pumps anywhere in the world to be mounted on a fire truck. So our goal was to produce a fire pump that would produce somewhere around 5,000 gallons per minute from draft now. So we really reached that goal. Our first production model, we did actually 5,500 GPM from draft. From a pressurized source, we could get in excess of about 9,000 gallons a minute from the first unit that we built. It was a great success. We applied for the World Book of Guinness as the largest fire truck and achieved that in the early days in 2017, I think it was. But, today that product has really branched off into a lot of different configurations, so to speak. Our largest pump today we produce is 6,250 gallons per minute. Now, again, that's from draft. From a pressurized source, we can get an excess of about 10,000 plus gallons per minute. And when we look at that, a lot of industry, needs, when you have big fires, you need big water. I mean, it's a very simple analogy. Just like you go to the house fire, you may be flowing 1,250, 1,500 gallons a minute. So it's not uncommon for an industry fire to flow 10,000, 12,000 gallons per minute out of a vehicle. So,
now you mentioned the original intent was, make the largest industrial fire pump that could be mounted on a fire truck. But there are a lot of situations where, you have a large flow, large scale type of event where fire apparatus aren't able to do that. So what are some of the other things that you've come up with over time to address those situations when fire apparatus can't be used?
Yeah, now, today we consider ourselves one of the largest emergency response company in the world. Over the last probably 10 years, close to 10 years, we've been on just about every major response, across the country, with that. But back to the pump configuration, we actually took the pump configuration and actually made it into a portable pump, so to speak, with a power pack engine that produces the power to run the fire pump. So that was very successful. So, one thing led to another when we started that first evolution of that pump, is actually to build a portable pump and then in turn build an industrial firefighting team where we're at today.
So when talking about that industrial team, that's really one of the ways that U.S. Fire Pump can support other operations. Some of these large-scale emergency response events where, maybe the industrial fire brigade is overtaxed, that they need a little help. You'll consult with them. Talk a little bit about that support that U.S. Fire Pump offers at those types of incidents.
Yeah, like I said earlier, we've been on a lot of different responses. So, not only that we provide pumping capability, we have developed large-scale submersible pumps that run off of hydraulic power packs. That really is a game changer in our industry. When you look at all these large scale fires, we're not pumping off of hydrants, we're pumping off of alternative water sources. So every large scale fire that we go on, we're always looking for lakes, ponds, rivers, and stuff like that. So it's really not uncommon, when we respond to one of these large incidents, that we're pumping 30,000 gallons a minute, 40,000 gallons a minute of water foam solution. So, our role in these industrial responses are basically to actually, we sign a contract with the customer and come in and actually, put out the fire. That's our role, but we do just more than that. Our large-scale industrial firefighting team consists of not only certified industrial firemen, but also paramedics, crane operators. So we're kind of a one-stop, so to speak, of an emergency response company. It allows us to do a lot of different things. We have our own radio system, our own adapter trailer, monitors, pumps, foam making equipment. We're the largest stocking manufacturer of foam. We actually keep 300,000 gallons of foam at our disposal at any time. So, these large scale fires take a lot of, like I said, water foam solution flow. But, we're there to support our industry. We've seen a lot in the last 10 years, so to speak. And it's, very interesting, from not only ship fires, aircraft carrier for the Navy, large-scale battery fire facilities, large petrochemical facilities that we've been on. So we've seen a lot. So we've learned a lot along the way. And it's really about the expertise and the tribal knowledge, so to speak, of actually how to contain fires and actually extinguish them in record time.
Talk a little bit about those foam capabilities that you mentioned. You have a specific product that you've designed for the foam applications, but you've also got quite a bit of foam available right off the bat that you keep ready to go.
Yeah, we actually developed a product called a DFI, which is a direct foam injection system. It's got a 12-inch inlet and a 12-inch outlet. It meters water and foam very precise. We can actually meter foam anywhere down to about 0.25% all the way up to 10%. Depends on what type of solution and what type of foam product we're using. Very accurate. It's been on every major fire that we've been on. So in today's world with fluorine-free foams today, you've got to be very precise when you're metering foam. Unlike traditional double suckers, what we call, and inductors, those were really great when we used AFFF in the days, but we find with fluorine-free foam, you got to, again, be very precise. If you're not, you'll get fuel pickup in the foam, and you're really not achieving your goal.
Well, we are at FDIC. Are there any rigs that you brought to the show this year that you'd like to highlight? Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up. We always glad to be here at FDIC. We think it's somewhat of the Super Bowl of fire trucks or fire equipment, so to speak. We actually brought 2 industrial fire trucks this year. Last year, we typically bring 1. We brought 2. We brought a very unique truck that we built for Exxon Corporation. We actually built 3 of those identical trucks at one time. That particular truck that's on the showroom floor is a 5,500 GPM pump from draft. It'll do close to 10,000 GPM from a pressurized source. But what's so unique about this product, it's actually dual control, dual pump panel controls. So you can either operate the truck from the rear of the vehicle or completely inside the truck, something different that I don't think anyone has ever seen before from an industry standpoint. It has a large monitor that will flow close to 9,000 gallons a minute off the top of the vehicle, along with 2,000 GPM rear monitors. And in addition to that, we also bought and that's on a custom chassis, we also brought a conventional cab Kentworth chassis that's built on an industrial application, so to speak. It has a 4,000 GPM pump. So it's a lot of unique features to these products that we brought today.
We've talked a lot about your industrial offerings, but there are some municipal offerings as well. Can you talk about them first?
Yeah, we're proud to have started, when we grew the business from U.S. Fire Pump to U.S. Fire Apparatus. It's a U.S. Fire Pump division of fire trucks. We brought quite a few apparatus in addition besides industrial, municipal. We brought a lot of tankers, 3,000 gallon tanker. We have a 4,000 gallon tanker, pumper tanker on display. In addition to that, we brought one of our unique customer trucks from Yonkers, New York. So we actually delivered quite a few trucks really all around the world, so to speak, already since the start of U.S. Fire Apparatus. But, good cross-section of municipal trucks in addition to industrial trucks.
Well, if there was one from the industrial side, if there was one takeaway you would like people in the audience today to walk away with about everything that U.S. Fire Pump does on the industrial side, what would that be?
Well, Chris, that's a great question. We actually, speak about this to a lot of our industrial customers is that, when an industrial event takes place, we always like to talk to customers about call us early, before the scene gets overwhelming or really uncontrollable. So we're out there as a resource. We take calls all day, all night when these big incidents that go on, really around the world. We are a great asset. We have seen a lot, not to brag, but we have seen a lot of industrial fires in our day, and we got a lot of expertise behind us. We can coordinate a lot of different scenes and help the situation get under control in a short amount of time.
And I think that's one of the keys there is that those teams, they're ready to go. I mean, very quickly.
Always at the moment's notice. Matter of fact, we're on a job as we speak in California on the West Coast. Today, they've been out there for about 3 weeks now. And like I said, we've been all around the country. We have our own aircraft. We can go within a couple minutes, so to speak, at least 30 minutes. We can gather up and be on the plane and go anywhere we want to go in a moment's notice. But that's what it's about, fast response, fast attack, and having the right equipment. Our total equipment today in our arsenal, we can pump in excess of 300,000 gallons a minute of water foam solution. We keep 15 miles of 12-inch hose in stock. So, it's not uncommon for us to lay 2.5 miles to a water source to actually, supply water foam to the fire.
2.5 miles, huh?
12 inch. 12 inch.
That's
yeah.
That's a rough one to roll up.
It's like a water main on top of the street. Once it's laid, you're not moving it. But it's amazing to see. A lot of people won't see these big catastrophic fires in their lifetime. Mm-hmm. But it's always interesting to see how this setup works and how effectively it works and how fast it works.
Now, if anyone first we'll cover if you can't be at FDIC. If you can't be at FDIC this week, how can they reach us? How can fire departments reach U.S. Fire Pump?
Yeah, very easily. We have a website. You can contact us at usfirepump.com or usfireapparatus.com. We have an extensive website. It's interactive. We got YouTube videos. We got TikTok videos. Okay. So we're into the media. So
dealer locator.
Yeah,
as well?
yeah, absolutely. Good. So.
And then for those who are here at the show this week, where can they find you?
Yeah, come by. We're in the U.S. Fire Apparatus booth. Also, we have a U.S. Fire Pump booth. We brought a lot of different U.S. Fire Pump equipment this year. We brought a 10,000 GPM submersible unit, a big 12,000 GPM monitor that no one has seen in their lifetime probably. In addition to that, we brought a 11,000 GPM boost pump. That's from Draft now. That pump will do in excess of about 16,000 gallons a minute, 3 12-inch intakes on the rear. So it's a pretty unique product that we have on the floor.
So it sounds like it's all about big water.
Big water, big flow.
Water. All right. Well, Chris, again, thank you for sitting down with me for a few minutes here to talk about just about U.S. Fire Pump, all those extra things that you're into. You're not just building the pumps. You are supporting industrial fire brigades, fire departments throughout the country.
Yeah, one thing I failed to mention too, we have a big rental pump business. So we'll go out and install big pumps as a backup fire water. If their fire water system goes down in an industry or a hotel or a construction site, we've had large customers such as SpaceX, Tesla, and a lot of different facilities will go in and put a temporary fire pump. We built some technology in where we can detect pressure and flow. So it's really interesting.
Great. All right. Well, everyone, have a great rest of the show if you are here. Again, this has been Chris McClune along with Chris Ferreira at the FDIC Podcast Studio. Have a good one, everyone, and stay safe.